We have basically covered all components and their features up to this point. But there are still some extra settings that can be useful. Let's check them out by clicking on this menu icon here. In the File menu group you will find some basic settings, like Create New Project, Open a Project, Save Options, and a shortcut to open recent projects. But there are two uncommon settings in here. The first one is the Import GWD resource. In case you don't know, old watches from Samsung didn't use the Wear OS system, they used the Tizen OS. Therefore, the watch faces created for Tizen are incompatible with Wear OS. This option is for old developers to convert their project into one compatible with Wear OS. For this reason, I will not go through this option. The second one is Export Encrypted Project. This one will add a password to your project file. Let's test it out by clicking on it. A pop-up will show up for you to create a password and confirm it. Done, the project is now protected. If we go back to the main screen, you will see that now we have two projects here. One is without a password and the other is encrypted. When you encrypt a project, Watchface Studio creates a duplicate of it and then adds the encryption to it, in this case, this one. You can delete the one not encrypted if you wish. I recommend for you to save it somewhere else in case you need a backup. Now once you click the encrypted project to open it, the password for this project will be requested, like this. Be careful with this feature. As far as I know, you cannot remove or change the password for a project. As you can see here, the option is now disabled, as it is already encrypted. If you lose the password, you lose the access to the project. In the Edit menu group, you will find some basic operations that can be done to a component, like copy, group, ungroup, mask, swap media, and so on. Note that for each option inside the menu, you have a text aligned to the right. These texts are the keyboard shortcuts. For example, if I want to group some components, I can simply select them all, then press the G key while I press and hold the Control key, instead of having to use the mouse. There is one option in this menu that I haven't covered yet, the Style Copy option. Different from the basic copy option, this one will only copy the customization settings you've added to the component and not the component itself. For example, you can see that I have two texts in my watch face. Let's say I want the Apple text to look like the banana text. I can copy each setting one by one, or I can use the Style Copy feature. For that, first I have to select the banana text component, which is already selected. Then I open this menu and click on the Style Copy option. Now I'll select the component that has the Apple text, then I open the same menu, but this time I'll click on the Style Paste option. Done, now the Apple text has the same customization settings as the other one. You can even choose which group settings will be copied. Let me show you. First, I'll select the component I want to copy, and then I'll go to that same menu. You can see down here that you have some options. These options are the ones that can and will be copied. Let's say I don't want to copy the color, but all the rest. For that, I just need to uncheck the color option and then copy the style by clicking on the Style Copy button, or by using the keyboard shortcut. Now when I paste the style into the other component, it will copy all the customizations but the color from the banana text component. The next item from the menu is the project group. These first three settings I'll cover in the next video. For this video, let's check only the setting option. If you click on it, a pop-up will show up. The first input is the package name of the watch face. The package name is the technical name for App ID. I'll talk more about it in the next video. For now, you only need to know that you can edit the package name of your watch face using this input here, like this. The next input is the app label. This is where you define the name of your watch face, more specifically, the name the users will see on their watch. If you click on the Text ID button, you will see that, by default, the initial name of the watch face is the project's name. The name of the watch face name and the name of the project do not need to be the same. For example, I'll change my watch face name to be TEO001. As you can see up here, the name of the project didn't change, but the watch face now has a new one. Just remember, this is the name that will show up on the user's watch. Down here we have the font settings. I have already covered this in a previous video. In short, you can set the default font for this project using these two drop-downs here. You can also use it to remove a font you've added, as long as it is not being used. Up here we have two other tabs. The first one is the Health tab. In here you can set the step goal value for your watch face. By default, this setting is set to sync with the value set in the user's watch. In case you wish to use a custom value for this watch face, uncheck this option here, then enter the goal value in this input, like this. Be aware that if you set a custom value, this value will be the one used in the step tags and the reference for the step conditional line progress. In the Data tab you can find the texts you have set for the current project. Once again, I already covered this topic in the previous video, go check it out. The next menu group is the View. In the group outlines you have three options. The option outlines will force all components to display their boundaries all the time. The option labels will force the name you set for each component in the left sidebar to be displayed in the right top corner of the component's boundary. One thing worth mentioning about the outline option is that if you enable it, the color of each component boundary will follow the color of the layer color. For example, let's set the color for the apple text component to be pink and the color for the banana text component to be yellow. See, now their boundaries follow these colors. Note that when I hover the components with the mouse cursor, the color doesn't change. This happens because I disabled the highlight option. Let's enable it again. Now when I hover the component, the boundary changes its color, it turns blue. It is worth mentioning that this feature can also be used without the outline being enabled. The next option in this menu is the Show Coordinate Lines. This option will display two lines. As you can see, each line will cut the canvas in half, one in the vertical axis and the other in the horizontal axis. The option Show Rulers will add a ruler for both axes. The ruler's values are measured in pixels, and the 0 points are aligned with the origin point of the canvas. Note that when the rulers are enabled, the option guides can be used. The first guide option is the Show Guides. If you enable this option, you will be able to add guides. To add one, move the mouse cursor over the edge of the ruler, then click and drag it. You can add guides for both axes. In case you want to add more than one, just repeat the same steps, go to the ruler's edge, then click and drag. You can also change their position after you add them. For that, place the mouse cursor over the guide you wish to move, then click and drag it. In case you want them to not be draggable, go back to the Guides group, then enable the Lock Guides option, like this. Now the guide's position cannot be changed after you add them, unless you disable the Lock Guides option. To remove one guide, place the mouse cursor over it and do a double click, like this. To remove all guides at once, open the menu and click on Remove Guides. Another option we have is the Snap feature. It allows us to align components using the boundaries from other components or even the guides we added. Let me show you. When I move a component and its boundaries align to another component's boundaries, this line shows up. The same happens with guides, as you can see. Inside the Snap to Group menu, you can set what the component can be snapped to. As you can see, both options are enabled. If I disable, for example, the Snap Align option, that line I showed you when I aligned both components' boundaries will not show up anymore. Now the component will only snap to guides. This dot in the center of the component's boundaries is the pivot point. This is the point where the component rotates around. In case you want to hide, or show, the pivot point from the components, simply toggle the option Show Pivot, like this. The last option here is the Conditional Line. This option toggles the visibility of the conditional sidebar. The next menu group is the About. In here you will find some terms and licenses. In case you want to read them, just click on one of these options, and a pop-up with the text will show up. You can also use this menu group to check what version of the Watch Face Studio you are using. Just click on the Software Version button, and a pop-up will show up with the information. In case a new version is available, you will find a message inside this pop-up with a link to where you can download it. The last option here is the User Guide. If you click on it, you will be taken to an official website with some brief explanations on how to use the WFS. The last option in the menu is the Preferences. Different from the other menus, the settings in here are about the WFS itself and not the current project. The first setting here is to set which tab will be displayed when you open the Watch Face Studio. It can be either the Recent tab or the Start tab. The second setting is the location path for your workspace. The workspace is basically a folder where all projects you create are saved at. The path you see here is the path you set when you installed the Watch Face Studio. In case you want to change it, click on the Select button and then pick the new folder location. Here in the middle, there is a button to reset all warning dialogues. For some pop-up messages that show up while doing some actions inside the WFS, you have the option to not display the message again. In case you set a pop-up message to not be displayed again and you regret it, you can use this option to enable all warning pop-ups again. The layer naming option is to define what will be the initial name for components that use external files. For example, right now the naming setting is set to File. If I try to add an image, the component name will be the name of the file, as you can see here. Now, if I change the setting to Number and I add an image, the name of the component will be image plus a number. This number will increment each time you add the corresponding component. The appearance setting is to change the color mode of the WFS. You can set it to be light, dark, or to follow your system mode. Inside the View tab you have a couple of options. These options down here are exactly the same as the ones inside the View Group menu I have just showed you. In here you can enable and customize the grid. To enable it, just click on this Show Grid checkbox, then click on OK. Done, now the canvas has a grid. These other options here are to customize the grid. You can set its color and the type of line it will use by using these two inputs here. Note that the grid is composed of bold lines and regular lines. The bold lines are the main lines, and the regular lines are used to delimit the subdivisions. Right now, we have 4 subdivisions between the main lines. We can change that by changing the value of this dropdown here. This number indicates the number of subdivisions we will have between each main line. And the size of each subdivision can be set by this input here. For example, now it has 3 subdivisions, and each subdivision has a size of 60 pixels. Therefore, the distance between each regular line is 60 pixels, and the distance between each main line will be 3 times 60, that is, 180 pixels. You can also toggle the grid visibility using the View menu group, like this. This is all for this video.